Hello everyone and welcome to Let's Fail at Stellaris. I'm Alzy. I'm going to be doing the world's crappiest Let's Play. It might not actually be the world's crappiest Let's Play, but I'm sure going to try. So, I guess I'll start off with what is Stellaris. Stellaris is a grand strategy 4X space RTS game. It is done by Paradox Studios, the same folks who did Europe Universalis, Crusader Kings, City Skylines, a couple other great games. Let's get started right into this. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the Create a New Empire screen. I'm going to go through this with you guys. I'll do my best to gloss over things. There is a lot of different options, and for me to take the time to actually sit here and go through all of it, this video would probably be an hour long. So I'm going to try my best to keep it short, but I am known to ramble, so I apologize if this video does end up going long. The next ones should not be as long if it does go long. It's just a warning in advance. Alright, so when I start the Empire's creation screen, this shows you, I think, just a base setting that I always give you. Go up to appearance on the left, you can get all the options. I do have a couple mods running, say that in advance. Most of the mods I have running for this game, actually all of the ones I have running, are basically for more portraits, flags, backgrounds, rooms. Basically, it's all for cosmetic and aesthetic purposes. It doesn't actually add anything to the game. It doesn't change anything in the game. So that way, for anyone who doesn't want to run mods or isn't running mods, they're not going to see, you're not going to miss anything from what I'm showing you. And if you do try to play along, I will note that I have all of the DLC for this game as well. So, what's that? The Leviathan's DLC, the Unity stuff, all that stuff. Anyways, so typically you probably start off with the humanoid screen. So you get to choose, you want to play race of humans, some folks that kind of looks like Klingons, other different types of aliens that are human-ish looking, space elves, Vulcans, what do you want to call them? Mammalians, based off of animals or mammals, that's why I call them mammalians. You get different types of monkeys, cats, foxes, porcupines, reptilians, space lizards, basically. All different kinds of space lizards. And there's some other weird looking stuff that they always add in. I'm sure it's all based off of some kind of lizard. Geico Insurance Company. Avians, basically birds, space birds. There's a lot of different options. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'll show you a couple as I go through here. Arthropods. Butterflies. Moscoids. There's a lot of different types. There's some stuff in this particular tree that kind of would remind me of something out of like Lovecraft, some Cthulhu or something like that. Space hydras. So some Immobius slugs, snails, fungoids, mushroom people, basically. All different kinds of mushroom people. And plantoids, which are basically, as you would guess, plants. Venus flytrap, anyone? Are known as a type of space flower people or ants. Those are the ones you normally see. I'm not going to show you the ones from the mods, but they are out there if anyone's interested. I've already come to an idea of who I'm going to play as this time around, just to for the purpose of creating this. I'm not very good at coming up with names. If you guys happen to come up with one, I might use it in a later iteration. If whenever I play Stellaris again, I'm sure I will play it again. With also respect of if anyone says, oh, you should try playing this particular type of government style, I'll take that into consideration. So for the purpose of this one, I'm just going to use a random. Never right. Sure. So the next one is the name list. So name list for ships, leaders, planets, fleet names, etc. You can set the prefix at the beginning of your ship, so like the ISS, whatever you want to call the ship. You can change that to whatever you want it to be. You want PSS or DES or whatever. I'm going to leave that as default. Like I said, I'm not very creative when it comes to names. At least not for this particular game. Since I'm playing a race of fungus, you pick a name from the fungoid list. But these guys do kind of look like mammalians that have been infected with a fungus parasite, so I'm actually going to pick the mammalians. Oh, it doesn't really matter. When you're creating a custom one, you can call them whatever you want to call them. It doesn't matter at all. On the next screen, you get to choose your racial traits. So here you choose what traits you want your race to have. These are the base traits that you start with. Later on as you advance in the game, you can actually unlock some gene splitting and like genetic modification stuff, and you can actually change this a little bit, but for the most part, these are the ones you're going to have. And you can kind of customize your race, what you want them to have. You can give them strengths and weaknesses. It says you can pick two. So say I want it to be intelligent, then it uses all 2 points that you have. But it says I can pick up to 4 more, so I guess you can say like, okay, I want them to be intelligent, but slow breeding, so I gain back an extra point, as an example. They all offer different bonuses. I'm not going to go through each of them because they're, as you can see, quite a lot. But to give you an idea, there is a couple options out there. You can choose your leader, male or female, sex. It doesn't really make much difference in mammalians, or at least in fungoids. They don't change. If you're playing one of the humanoids, they will actually change your appearance to represent if it's a male or female. Doesn't really matter in this case. You choose your leader's name. Choose phenotype, hairstyles, clothes. I can't change any of those 3, that's why they're grayed out, because I'm playing a fungus. But you usually get those options for depending on what race you're playing as. Some of them get it, some of them don't. And each of them have different options. German Den Polish. Yeah, sure, why not? Color variants. You can choose different colors. Changes depending on the race. You get to see different ones. This one just changes the kind of the colors a little bit. I'll go red. Room. So this changes the background. This is all just aesthetic stuff, pretty much. I'm running, like I said earlier, I'm running a mod that adds a crap ton more backgrounds or rooms to the game. This is going to take a while for me to go through them all. But, yeah. Good stuff. So on the next screen you get to choose your homeworld. You can name your homeworld in the star system that's in. You can choose what kind of starting system you want. There's a couple different presets, or you can just do I usually just do random. Or that's fine, I'll leave it at that. And you can choose what type of homeworld you want. So dry, wet, frozen climates. So basically what this does is it gives you the option if you want to have a desert homeworld, or arid type, savanna, ocean, continental, like Earth would be, tropical worlds, Arctic, alpine, tundra worlds. They pretty much, I mean, there's, yeah, they each of them offer their own different type of habitability for your race. So whichever one is your homeworld is going to be the one they prefer the most. Any other planet that you find out in the galaxy, when it comes time to colonize or whatnot, they will prefer, obviously, their homeworld type. In this case, I'm going to go tropical world for these guys. But it doesn't really matter. You can choose any of those ones. And there is text that you can research that advances your habitability towards all planets as well, so that you can actually live on some of the ones you can't normally live on at the beginning. So for example, starting off on the tropical planet, if I find a ocean world or a continental world, I can still colonize them, but I will receive a little bit of a penalty for that. But for me to colonize one of the frozen worlds or one of the dry worlds, it will receive a greater penalty, or might not even allow me to colonize it because, you know, my people wouldn't be able to live on it. You can subvert around that. Like I said, there's text to increase habitability. I think there might be a few traditions in the Unity stuff that you can actually use to also increase it beyond that. And then there's also, if you go down the path of robots, you can get droids and synthetics that can colonize planets, and they don't care what kind of planet they live on. They can pretty much live on almost anything. And I'll move on. This just changes what type of city you see. You're not gonna. I don't think you actually even be able to see it too much because this is custom background. You'll see it on the planet screen when I get to actually being in the game. I want to choose mammalians, just for the simple fact that these guys look like mammalians, and I'm not all that creative. But you can definitely choose whatever you want for this kind of stuff. I have a couple mods that adds a couple more extra ones, but for the most part, this changes what the graphic flavor, what it's going to look like on your city screens or planet surface screens. Government ethics. So this is probably the chunkier part. I'm probably going to be on this screen for a little bit as I try to explain this stuff. This year, wheel, if you will, you can choose your different political ethic points and whatnot. Choose what type of government you want to have. You want to have democracy or an oligarchy or dictatorial, imperial, or you can go high mind if you want, right here in the middle. I'm not going to go high mind. I don't have that much experience with high mind, so I'm going to not play it this time around. I might play it again another time, but I'm not going to. As far as I know, I have heard that Paradox is going to be releasing some updates to how hive minds and synthetics work down the road. Possibly soon, I believe. The Capic update. This series that I'm doing is on the atoms, or at least this first video is. We'll see how things go. Alright, so ethics. So this here's this kind of a spoken a wheel. Each one kind of represents the opposite end of the coin for something. For example, the top one, the swords, it's militaristic, or to be basically pro-war, pro-military. You get a bonus for army damage and ship fire rate if you choose that. And there's kind of the lesser, and then there's the extreme version. You have normally 3 ethic points to use. Hive Mind uses all 3. That's why when you choose Hive Mind, you don't get any other options here with Hive Mind, and your authority is automatically Hive Mind. That's what it is. For the other ones, you kind of can choose, and depending where on this wheel you go, you can choose. Like if I go Authoritarian, it gives you options to Imperial and Dictatorship. But if you go Egalitarian, then you get Democratic and Oligarch. Of course, Oligarch is kind of in the middle, can kind of be on either side of the coin. Anyways, so yes, military, pro-war, pacifist on the opposite end of that. You can't be both. You have to be. You can only be one or the other. If you do choose an extreme, you get. It uses 2 points. If you choose a regular one, you get and cost 1 point. Pacifists, as I was saying, they don't like war. You typically can't go to do an offensive war, so when you go to war against someone, you won't be able to cede a planet. You'll only be able to liberate it, typically. Unless I think it's a planet that they took from you. Anyways. You get other bonuses for them too. You can get extra unity and more core sector systems, etc. Then if we move, I'm going to move clockwise down here. Start at military. Xenophobes. So xenophobe would be if you dislike aliens. Fanatic xenophobes hates other aliens. So if you run into any other race out in the Empire that's not you, which face it, that's every other species, every other empire is going to be other than you. You're automatically going to hate them or despise them. And they're not going to like you so much either because they realize that you're a xenophobe. They give you the ability to... xenophobes give you the power to... basically, you can purge aliens and wipe them out. You can displace them. You can enslave them, you know, because they're lesser than you. And that's what you believe. The opposite side of that is to be xenophile, which basically likes and or loves other aliens. And they try to become friends with them. And they work diplomatically, they can form federations, that kind of stuff. Moving on. Next choice is the next one is egalitarian. The opposite of that is authoritarian. So egalitarian is your kind of what we're used to here in the West, where you have every citizen has their own rights, they're allowed to do what they want to do. Government is, you know, you vote your leaders into power, they try to work on your behalf, that kind of stuff. Anyways, opposite side of that is the authoritarian. They basically, the government controls every little thing you do in your life. They kind of like micromanaging more, if you will. Also gives you the option to do slaves and that kind of stuff. You can almost see this as, now I may be wrong on this, so I'm not super knowledgeable on political stuff, but you can almost see this as egalitarian is your typical democracy style, Western democracy. Authoritarian, you're going slightly less democratic and more of an oligarchy, and kind of more control over that. And then you can go full board to the side to fanatic authoritarian. That would be more think of Nazi Germany. And on the other side of this, the other side of egalitarian, think socialism or communism. It's the kind of far ends of the coin, if you will. Anyways. And last but not least, we have materialist and spiritualist. So materialist, they are basically for pro-science, pro-tech, pro-robotics. That's what they try to do. They try to work with robots, work with sciences. That's what they are. They're pro that. They see logic over everything else. The opposite of that, spiritualists, If you choose Materialist, you can't get into Psionics. If you choose Spiritualist, you can't get into Robotics. Spiritualists, they are religious. They see religious as a good thing. That's what they work towards. They eventually gain the ability to unlock psionics, which is like telepathy, telekinesis, that kind of stuff. It's a little bit more involved. It's a little bit different in this game. You get some stuff with the shroud that you can do later on, depending what options you choose. Where you go. Basically, that's everything in a nutshell. For these guys, what am I going to do? I am going to... Let's see, mushrooms? How about we do spiritualist, military, and egalitarian? Why not? You want democracy? Yeah, we'll be pure democracy. So, choosing these options, I'm going to give us the theoretic republic. So it says a spiritual form of democracy where a religious council supervises the democratic process. And then you get to choose civics. You have a couple different civics you have a bunch to choose from. I'm not going to go through all of them. Obviously, you can see some of them are grayed out. So depending on what options you choose here, you will not have the ability to choose over here. For example, I can't choose Exalted Priesthood unless I was an augur. And it would give me that option. As an example. Trying to think what I want to run for this one. Sure, let's be the Beacon of Liberty and... And we'll do that. So each one of these give you different bonuses. For this particular one, I'm going with plus the 15% extra unity and plus 8% fire rate on my ships. Which basically makes me military commissant. Only democratic, with the dividing line between the civil administration and the military having been blurred to the point where largely become one and the same. So you don't say that they're democratic, spiritualist, militarists. Next screen, and choose the Empire name. Whatever you want to call them. I'm going to go random again, because I may have said this earlier, I'm not that creative with names, at least for the most part when it comes with this game. The Neverite Confederation. Sure, why not? Let's see what they actually have there. Commonwealth, United Neverite Confederation, Neverite Mandate, I'm sure if I hit random, I'll get a couple of options. Alright, so then you gotta choose your flag. There's a couple different, there's a lot of different options you can choose from. I'm not gonna go through all of them. It's gonna be a minute while I try to figure out which one I want. Which one I want. It's mostly just for aesthetics, but you'll see it's kind of like the flag that your empire is gonna run for pretty much everything. I do have some mods that do add a couple extra different ones on here. So if you do see some extras that you're not used to seeing, or you don't see, probably because of that, I will leave a list of all the mods I'm using in the description. In case anyone's interested. Let's do red and black, why not? Again, you can choose whatever you want for this. It's pretty much just personal choice. Sure, why not? Stunning weapons. So you can choose what weapons you want to start with. You can either start with projectile, mass drivers, energy weapons, lasers. Armists? I'll go with lasers for these guys. FTL method. There's 3 different types of FTL travel methods for your ships. Warp travel, hyperspace travel, or wormholes. Wormholes require you to build stations. As it says, advanced players. I'm an advanced player, in case you guys didn't know. I've only maybe completed the game 2 or 3 times. All times I've lost, so as I've said, the world's crappiest Let's Play. Or Let's Fail at Stellaris. It's... yeah, let's... watch it. You come to watch this to see me fail at Stellaris. Yeah. Hopefully to, if you do decide to play this game, after watching my videos, to be like, yeah, I'll learn from his mistakes and not do what LZ did. Alright. I'm gonna go with warp travel. In case you guys didn't know what the different, what these ones do, wormhole travel, as I said, requires you to build wormhole gates, stations, or whatnot that you need to travel. Hyperspace travel is if anyone's ever played Endless Space or some other games where you need to basically the galaxy, the stars are connected in lines like constellation lines, and you can only travel between or on those lines basically. And warp travel allows you to pretty much travel anywhere within a certain amount of distance that your current technology allows, and as you research more tech, that expands. I'm sure there's more to it than that, but it is what it is. And last but not least, ship appearance. You can choose what your ships you want it to look like. Again, I have a couple mods, adds a couple extra ships. But for the most part, wherever they are. Yeah, I'm gonna run 1,000,000 ships just because. And that's it. I'm gonna save these guys. Hit done. So this is where we're actually gonna start the game itself. So here we actually get to choose what size of galaxy we want, how many other empires you want to play against, if you want to have any fallen empires, etc., etc. For the purpose of this game, I'm going to do a medium galaxy. It's fine. Advanced AI starts. Yeah, I'm gonna leave most of the. I'm gonna pretty much leave this at default. Difficulty normal. Neighborhood random. Advanced neighbors off. Actually, I'm gonna turn advanced AI starts off, which I know that's kind of making the game easier, because what that does is it gives certain AIs bonuses, and they usually start far away from you depending on the advanced neighbor setting. And if I turn this off, they won't get advanced starts. They're going to start around the same level or point that I will. To me, I find that's more like leveling the playing field. Other people may disagree and say no, because players are supposed to play better than AIs, blah 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 blah, but I'm still kind of a noob, so yeah. No, you know what, I'll put 2 then. Yeah, I'll put 2, so that way there's some challenge. Make me lose more. Iron mode that basically enables or disables achievements. If it's enabled, the game will auto-save every couple of months in game time, and you cannot restore from a previous save. You can only Yeah, I mean, sorry, you only have one save. You can't have multiple saves. So when you load from a save, you can only load to the last time it auto-saved. Which basically means that if you did something to fuck up, you can't go back and fix it. But on the flip side, it gives you achievements if you do happen to beat the game or read certain things that give you achievements. For the purpose of this stream, I'm going to probably leave it on. We'll see how it works out. Boom! We've now started the game. So, that's actually going to be it for the first video. Unfortunately, guys, I hate to leave right as things are getting started, but we'll get right back into it right after this.